Okay, welcome back to the final part of the Building a $100,000 a Month Online Coaching Offer series. And so in this video, we're going to figure out how you can actually fulfill for your clients on your $100,000 a month offer. Okay, so now that we've gone this far, you have your unique offer, you have your sales asset so you can sell your offer, and you've launched it and closed clients. So now it's time to fulfill for those clients. So when does fulfillment start? So it starts the second that you close someone. And I will say that the coaching depends heavily on your skills in what you're teaching. So if you're teaching people day trading and your offers for day trading, it's going to depend how well can you teach day trading. Are you a good day trader? Are your methods good? Will they work for other people? And obviously that's different for the hundreds or thousands of different niches out there. And this video isn't going to be specific to one single niche. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to create a framework to save time and deliver the best possible results. So our goal, we're going to build out and manage a fulfillment framework that can scale with quantity while still getting amazing results for your clients. And of course, what you're going to do is take this framework and add in your specific niche, whatever you're selling, whatever you're coaching, you can still use this framework. And so when I think of a high ticket coaching program, I think of three pillars. First, you have your pre-made resources. And so these are your recorded course modules, data sheets, bots, automations, written guides, whatever you make beforehand that doesn't cost you any time once the coaching actually starts. Then we have what most people and I would consider the most important thing, and that is the actual one-on-one coaching. So that can come in the form of, one-on-one Zoom calls, phone calls, text access, one-on-one texting, or even maybe weekly or monthly check-ins. And finally, for the third pillar, I like to include community. So that can be a group chat, a group Discord, a group help, whatever it is, but something that embodies your entire community helping each other. And as a little extra, I've included group coaching, which is somewhat of a culmination between one-on-one coaching and your community. And group coaching is extremely important, as I will cover later in this video, because it's the best way to deliver great results while saving you time. Okay, so now that we kind of know what the three pillars are, I've broken it down into a three-phase process of what your clients should be going through from when you first initially close them to when you actually film a testimonial at the end after they've gotten good results. So first is the onboarding process. The main thing about the onboarding process is that it should be extremely smooth and effortless. And so we have three main goals for the first phase. We're going to collect client info, set expectations, and have the client receive all of the pre-made resources. So there are two ways that I recommend coaches to onboard their clients. First is through a simple onboarding form. It's easier and less automated. It simply comes in the format of multiple questions, multiple choice questions and answers that aim to collect as much info on your client as possible. But this is something that can be made in 10, 15, 20 minutes. Alternatively, you can use what I use, which is an onboarding app, which is a bit harder to set up, but is way more automated. And so if you look at an example of what I've made, and I made this completely with AI, once someone's onboarded, all they have to do is log in, and I have them log in on the sales call, and they can complete their profile, they can take an initial assessment, they can book their first call, they can go through the welcome resources, join everything, access a full course, and answer a bunch of different questions so that we can collect info on them. And why is it so important to collect info? Well, you need to know their current state, their pain points, their goals, what they've tried in the past, if you want to actually be able to coach them to the best of your ability. If you know nothing about your clients, then you won't be able to coach them. It's as simple as that. And that's why the main goal with onboarding is just collect as much info as you can so that ultimately you can better help them and get them better results. Now, similarly, you're going to have to give them access to all your pre-made resources. So in the app that I made, they actually can access it all right here. If not, if you're going to use a form, you just have to figure out a way to send them these resources or send them a link to get access to these resources. But everything you've pre-made, all the course modules, all the data sheets, tools, bots, anything, needs to be sent to them the second that they close. They are expecting something after they just paid $2, $3, $4, $5,000. They are expecting something immediately. So make sure whether you have a form or an app that you're able to deliver these things to your client as soon as possible. And thirdly, we're setting expectations. So you need to make sure they know when and where everything is happening. And by everything, I mean one-on-one calls, check-in, group calls, where the community is at. And similarly to this step, I have this all in the app. So there's actually a section where they can see where everything happens, where they can book their first call. And that's why I'm continuing to recommend using an app, because you could literally just put everything all in one. But say you use a form, maybe at the end of the sales call, if you have an onboarding call, you need to make it clear how many one-on-one calls they have, how long are they going to take, what's going to happen on those calls, when do they need to be there, they need to be on time, how do the group calls work, how can they access those, are we going to do check-ins, group check-ins, etc. You need to just set very clear expectations to not only hold your client accountable, but you as well. And so after that, if you've done everything correctly, whether you're using a form or an app, you should have collected as much information on your client as possible. So now you can coach them to the best of their ability. You set the expectations for how the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months are going to go. And they've received all of the resources that you made in advance for them. And that concludes phase 1, which is the onboarding phase. So now you begin phase 2, and this is when the direct coaching begins. So this is what I would like to call the bulk of the fulfillment. This is where your clients are going to really start to learn and start to get results. Okay. And so the biggest part of the direct coaching for phase 2 is the one-on-one coaching aspect. So this is where your client is going to receive the majority of their one-on-one coaching, whether it be one-on-one Zoom calls, texting, however you set up the one-on-one coaching access. This is where they should receive the bulk of it. And your student should see exponential growth during this phase. Depending on how many one-on-one coaching sessions you're doing or how that works, you need to implement check-ins. And this can be as simple as text check-ins or voice notes, but you need to make sure that you're holding your client accountable and you're checking in with them constantly during this phase, because this is where they're going to be growing and they're going to be needing as much attention as possible. And besides that, this is also where the group coaching will start. So the group coaching, I say, should happen frequently, at least once a week. And I think if you're not doing it at least once a week, you need to go back to the drawing board and figure something out. And it should work as a repeatable framework. So every single call is structured the same. It starts with maybe a lesson that you've pre-made, and then you go into a Q&A, and then you help people out specifically, and you cover a different topic each week, but something that's repeatable and students know what to expect. And the reason why you should put so much emphasis on group coaching, because it's the best way to deliver quality coaching while optimizing for your own time. And so to recap for this phase, your students should be getting the bulk of the one-on-one coaching. They should be getting weekly, monthly check-ins, and they should also be receiving quality group coaching. If you include all this together, then your client will get amazing results during this phase. And so what happens after that? Well, if you're truly going to scale with quantity, then you can't promise every single one of your students an infinite amount of one-on-one calls. You would run out of time. So that's why I always limit the amount of one-on-one calls that my client students receive. So that could be 5 one-on-one calls or 1 one-on-one call every single month for 5 months or 6 months or whatever it is. But as soon as that direct one-on-one support ends, that's when we enter phase 3, which is continued support. So they've gone the bulk of their one-on-one coaching. You've taught them most of everything you know. And so now they're going to be getting less one-on-one help, but still continued support. So that might include check-ins still, even if it's just over text, if you're checking in with them once a month, asking how they're doing, seeing what they need help on, seeing what they're struggling with, what's working for them. And the main source of their education should still now be coming from the group calls, because once again, you're delivering one-to-many coaching. So you're not spending any more time on the individual, but you're spending time on the group as a collective. And it's important that you continue your support even after the direct coaching of phase 2. You can't just give them super attentive coaching for 3 months and then say, okay, you're done. In my eyes, that's a faulty fulfillment process. Okay, so now if you recap, they've been closed. They go through the onboarding process. It's smooth. You set expectations. They get access to all the pre-made resources. They give you all their info. Then the direct coaching begins. They start getting a lot of one-on-one coaching, check-ins, group coaching. This is the time where they exponentially grow and start getting real results. And then after that, they go into phase 3 of continued support, where it's a little bit less one-on-one help, but they're still getting group coaching and getting check-ins. And by this time, they should have, if they've kept up with it, received great coaching and gotten great results. And that's where we come in with a testimonial. So if you deliver good coaching and your client has good results, always ask for a testimonial, whether it's just a 15-second video they send you that you can post somewhere or a full 40-minute in-person interview with them. Testimonials are so important and the best way to leverage your results to get more clients, because the better testimonials that you film, the more trust and credibility that you will gain with your audience, and therefore the more students that you will close and the more money you'll make. And that brings me to my next 2 points, and that the best way to get more clients is to be successful in getting results for your current clients. And many people forget this. Many coaches and online coaches forget this. They focus too much on the marketing aspect and the sales aspect and just getting as many clients as possible, as much money in their bank account. And what ends up happening is they often neglect the students in which they closed. And they can't deliver good results. And people figure this out. They ask for refunds, they share online, they tell other people, and your whole coaching business will break down. Simply, the best way to get new students is to get results for your old students. They'll tell their friends, you can film testimonials, you can film case studies, and leverage all of that and help yourself get new clients. Because fulfillment is really the most important part of any online coaching business, and many people nowadays forget that. Because if you cannot get your students high quality results, you should not be selling them anything in the first place. And as always, if you want this entire board, just go ahead and DM me the word asset on Instagram. My handle is right here. It's also in my bio, my YouTube bio, and I'll literally just send over this one along with all my other YouTube video boards. And if you are an online coach, creator, or consultant and you already have an info offer and it's doing whatever 5, 10, 15, 20, 100K, or you don't have an offer but are a professional in your niche, I do want you to go to this link right here. It's also going to be in the description of this YouTube video, and go ahead and watch the video I made to see if I can actually help you scale your online coaching business. But other than that, thank you guys for watching this video. And if you're interested in growing your online coaching business, go to my YouTube and watch every other YouTube video that I have. I drop as much sauce as possible and I don't hold anything back.